And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will hold talks with Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos on Tuesday. The U.S. Secretary of State will also hold bilateral talks with his counterpart Enrique Manalo. During his meetings with Philippines leadership, Blinken is expected to reaffirm the United States' security commitments to the Philippines. The leaders of the two nations are also expected to review developments that affect the two countries' economy and security. And Blinken's visit comes ahead of a trilateral meeting in Washington next month between U.S. President Joe Biden, Marcos, and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. This is Blinken's second visit to Manila since President Marcos took office in June 2022. All right, let's go across to DD India's Patrick Falk is joining us live from Singapore. Patrick, what's on the agenda for the Secretary Blinken's visit to the Philippines?
Well, as you mentioned, Secretary Blinken will be meeting with the Philippine President as well as his Philippine counterpart, Enrique Manalo. And what he's going to be talking about is clear. That is maintaining peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific and also helping the Philippines manage its territorial disputes with Beijing in the South China Sea. Specifically, we are told that Blinken will reaffirm Washington's commitment to the Philippines and their mutual defense treaty. And this visit comes just a week after U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo led a business delegation to the Philippines and pledged to invest as much as $1 billion in the Philippine economy. As you mentioned also, these talks are really going to pave the way for this trilateral summit that's possibly going to take place in April between Japan, the Philippines and the US, and also to discuss some specific outcomes from those talks. And it's an interesting situation really here because, a lot of the tension that we've seen in the South China Sea has come about since President Marcos came to office and got closer to Washington, something that has angered Beijing. But its actions since then and its assertiveness in the South China Sea has very clearly pushed the two together. And now we're seeing a scenario where US allies are being brought closer together to coordinate efforts against China, if you like. And so this is exactly this opposite of what Beijing is trying to achieve, you might say.
Also, Patrick, they are expected to tackle, like you said, among other things, the escalating tension in the South China Sea. And tell us, what sort of reaction has there been from China?
Well, Beijing, as you can imagine, is certainly not happy about it. There was an opinion piece in the Global Times yesterday which said that Blinken's visit would take regional strategic confrontation to unprecedented levels. It was interesting as well, this phrase, strategic confrontation, which sort of suggested that so far the tensions that we've seen that have been escalating have been managed somewhat by Beijing. China also accused the Philippines of taking provocative actions in the South China Sea and of illegally entering its maritime territory, which it referred to as part of its historic rights. It's the territory that is under China's historic rights, which, as we know, has been overruled in 2016 by The Hague. Now, President Marcos notably said last week that the Philippines will do what it can to protect its maritime territory in the face of China taking increasing actions to annex it. So in a sense, the Philippines is calling for the US and its allies and the international community as well, really, to support its efforts to do so in the South China Sea.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Patrick, appreciate your time.